Hey people. I what's been coming through today, and actually it sort of started yesterday, but I was reminded of it today, is this feeling that, after my I think it was before my first run with Kyle, but certainly also over the last couple days we did another run through this morning, but the run through was literally just myself and Kyle and Mary, his another team member, just talking the entire time. We never actually did a run of anything, but the ideas we were talking about were exactly kind of the heart of everything that this event is about, and very likely, they're gonna come up as a matter of course in the actual event itself. So it was a really cool conversation. What has been coming through for me, this is kind of more on the level of just how I'm thinking about it, and it's kind of taking this experience that I'm having of preparing for this event and expanding out a little bit on it. And the sense that I have is there's a way in which, when I'm coming from my ego, what my mind wants to accomplish, I'm doing what I'm doing, performing, writing, whatever, in order to get recognition in some way. I'm looking outside in order to get recognition. And it's, there's nothing even really that pernicious about it or malicious about it. But it's an orientation that is ultimately the mind seeking something that is not able to be satisfied. It's not, the mind's not actually going to find what it's looking for. And what's been coming through for me is that that's kind of like when I go into my performery mode, like I've talked about in the last couple of days. When that gets activated, what the primary dynamic of it is, I'm just hoping for to create some sort of response, recognition in the outside, in whoever might be watching. And that's, like I said, totally, ultimately ineffective. And I think, one of the reasons maybe that I have such a hard time with it is because I keep entering more and more deeply into this state of connectedness and this state of just genuine presence. And so that feeling of I'm doing this in order to create a feeling in someone else, it's not even about creating a feeling in someone else. It's about creating a feeling in someone else about me. That's the recognition part of it. It's like I want them to see me. I want them to see how great I am. It's like there's something about my reflection in them that I'm trying to control. And I think the more, it's like the more I work and the more that I go inward and start to really unpack what patterns are beneath all of that. And I've talked about a lot of them on this post. There's all kinds of family stuff, background, childhood stuff. I'm sure I'll keep discovering more of it, but it all ultimately has produced just kind of a mental pattern that's looking for something that's impossible to achieve. The other alternative that has been coming to me the last day or so is that I can approach this work as like a discovery process of recognizing myself. And I don't mean that in like a narcissistic, looking only at myself kind of way. But I do mean it in like a looking inward and discovering what's there kind of way. Connecting with source energy, connecting with the moment, and then it's like I discover myself. And this happens to me all the time on piano. Like I'll discover something and I'm like, oh, that's what I've been trying to say. It's like when this happens to people intellectually and in conversation too. It's like you finally clock, oh, that's what I've been trying to say. That's what I mean. Or someone else says it and you realize that they just said what you've been thinking. There's these moments of recognizing that are like little epiphanies. And when I'm in that place, then sharing it becomes just a natural outgrowth of the enthusiasm of the discovery. So me kind of investigating my own the territory of my own soul, to put it grandly, but it's literally nothing less than that, in music, is to actually be kind of discovering and recognizing myself, literally recognizing myself in the music. And then like I just said, then all of a sudden the sharing process is just, it's almost like part and parcel of the same thing, because it's a discovery kind of, and it generally contains this inherent spark that makes it just natural to share it. It's like it's effulging out of me, out of you, out of one when this happens. And so I think this is also speaking to and getting to a little bit of why, when I reframed this event for myself from being a performance into being a lesson, all of a sudden the notion of what it means to be sharing completely changed in my mind, in me. It was like I wasn't being tasked with coming up with a great performance to deliver, which is the part where all my mind really knows how to do with that is try and create something that will gain me recognition, into a lesson where my natural state is discovery. And this is, it's what I'm constantly encouraging my students to do as well, is be in discovery mode, but I go into that mode with them, and then I discover, and then that sharing immediately turns into the lesson. It's like I discover in the moment what's there, and then I share that, and that becomes the lesson. Kyle said something really beautiful the other day about, like, basically you end up teaching by being the student and kind of being in kind of connection, and the student being in awareness with you, and the teacher kind of becomes the student and learns something, and then the student gets to absorb that and receive what's happening in that moment. Sometimes it's literally the lesson that comes out. Sometimes it's just the pattern of that, not the pattern, but the kind of mechanics of the way the lesson emerges. Sometimes that's the instruction. But I think this is all kind of getting around to me realizing that process of going inward and going for recognizing, going for self-recognition, self-discovery. That's just a really natural home for me, and when I'm there, I love the sharing process, and there's nothing to achieve by the sharing process. I'm not trying to do anything that's worthy of the performance that I'm giving. All that stuff gets to go away, and I just get to kind of share what's really there. And I generally find that that's so satisfying. It's so, it's always exactly what it needs to be. So that's where I am today. Kind of that shift from going for recognition to going for recognizing myself. That's kind of how that's the phrase that's kept coming back to me today. So that's where I am on Wednesday. Still getting ready for Saturday. Probably gonna post. I have a awesome graphic that they sent me about it, so I'm gonna put that up here too, so you guys can check it out. I love you all. Appreciate that you're in my life. Thank you so much to everyone who listens to these. I will be talking to you again very soon.